of the business directly, it is too much precious chance for us, for me. Thank you very much. So today, so first, I would like to introduce JETRO. JETRO is a Japan External Organization. JETRO is a non-profit government organization established in 1958 by Japanese government. And my headquarters is in Tokyo and Osaka, and 55 domestic offices in Japan, and 74 overseas branch in 54 countries. In India, there are 5 offices in New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Ahmedabad. But only in New Delhi, there is an IPR division. So today, I would like to talk about mainly 3 topics. First, India from Japanese perspective. Next, India government's move and the current state of Japanese companies. Last, I would like to explain the important role of intellectual property rights. So first, India from Japanese perspective. So, from Japanese side, the position of India is very unique. It is the center of Asia, so it is easy to export the product to ASEAN, Africa, Middle East, and Europe. It is totally different to Japan. Japan is near the China or Korea, but it's far from other areas. So Japanese company, if Japanese company make product in India, it is easy to export from India to other countries. And needless to say, India has a huge population, so the big consumer area. So I compare India with other regions, ASEAN, EU, and China. So the area is similar to ASEAN or Europe plus UK. Population is similar to China. And configuration is similar to Europe. Language is same. And the GDP is similar to ASEAN, whole ASEAN. So according to this table, India is many aspects in this point, but only 1,500 Japanese company do business in India. It is very low compared to ASEAN. ASEAN is 10,000 Japanese companies do business, but in India is about one-fifth. It is very slow. It is very small number. So my job is promote Japanese company to business in India. So next, I live in Delhi, Gurgaon, near Delhi. So it is a mall, supermarket, and convenience store. So it is totally similar to that in Japan. So I really amazed when I visit India. So it is similar mall and supermarket. On the other hand, in Delhi or Gurgaon, there are traditional stores. So I like this field. So there are many people, and I feel energy of India. So I needed to negotiate many things, and I have fun with such negotiation, especially in price of product. So I needed to find out the proper product and negotiate the price. It is an interesting experience for me. So this is a very contrast. It is a main feeling from Japan. So it is an introduction of Japanese product. So, so for example, it is noodles. So in India, Nestle, Maggi is famous, I know. But some Indian company, Nissin, sells such noodle. So if you find such noodle, please try it. It's like Maggi, that not similar to Maggi. So please try it. And Yakult is a healthy drink. So I like Indian curry. So, but it is a little bit oily for me. So after eating curry, I take Yakult for make my stomach healthy. Okay. So the contrast is based on this graph. So it is a ratio of population in India regarding based on the layer. So high income, middle class income, low income layer. So it is amazing. So middle class layer, the ratio of middle class layer is rapidly increasing. So currently about 4 billion people. But after 10 years, 8 billion people is in middle class. So in Japan, only 1 billion people live in Japan. So totally, all ages. But in India, especially young age is increasing. So it is energy of India. I feel the energy of India. So this rapid increasing of middle class population. So this is GDP growth rate in India. So as you know, and needless to say, during the COVID time, the GDP growth rate is very low. But India rapidly recover from this, and now 7% GDP growth rate is expected. It is similar to before the COVID. So many European and Asian countries struggle with the effect of the COVID, but India rapidly recovering from this, so it is amazing. And this graph shows the investment from other foreign countries to India. So according to this graph, even though the COVID, the volume of investment is increasing during the COVID era, but India collecting a foreign direct investment about, it is yen, but 7 trillion yen. It is a huge investment. So India is an attractive area and collecting the very huge investment from all over the world. So this graph shows investment from which countries. So USA is definitely top country. And next, Japan, UK, France, Germany. So before COVID, US and Japan is the top 2 countries to invest to India. But during and after the COVID, the Japanese company is a little bit lost the motivation to invest to India. So the Japan is decreasing. On the other hand, UK is a little bit increasing. But US is a huge investment to India. So it is amazing. Yeah. So this graph shows which industry sector the other country invests to India. So mainly IT and communication. So it is easy to imagine. So because the industry of India, IT and communication is the main strong point in India. So many other foreign countries invest in the IT and communications. And this is it is old data. So now the number of unicorns is increasing more. So, but as for the March this year, unicorn is rapidly growth. So it is also amazing. So, but I can understand when I visited to the university yesterday. So the government of India intends to grow the startup in India. So many startup shows the many unicorns occurs. So I understand. So yeah, but the number of unicorns is very many number. Yeah. So it is a sector of unicorn. So e-commerce and software as a service, fintech, edtech, logistics, healthcare, food tech is a main industry sector of Indian unicorn. So it is easy to imagine. So yeah, software is a main industrial sector in India. So yeah. So it is India from a Japanese perspective. So technical area in focus in the future, fintech, edtech, healthcare. So many Japanese companies. So in India, this industry sector will grow in future hugely. And the expansion of new service target. So first, high income group. The target is high income group, but now many startups aim the middle class, I feel. And the target of area is changed from urban area to peripheral areas. So it is interesting, and Japanese company feel such changes. So next, I would like to introduce the Indian government's move and the current state of Japanese companies. So it is needless to say, it is a very famous Indian government policy. In 2014, the first term of Prime Minister Modi's era, the policy of Make in India was announced. It is aim for easing the regulations, attracting foreign investment, promoting the manufacturing industry, creation of jobs, reduction of trade deficit. So now, after the second term of Prime Minister Modi in 2020, the other policy named Self-Reliant India was started. So, but for Japan, it is basically the same as Make in India. So, but import substitution, economic security, and protectionist tendency identified in the light of the COVID crisis and complex international relationships. So, the basic concept is similar, but the aim of the policy is a little bit changed, I feel. But basically, make in India, so make product in India, is a strong message from Indian government to Japan or other foreign countries. And other trade policy, so India is withdrawn from RCEP in 2019. And after the withdrawal of RCEP, Indian government tried to reach agreement bilateral trade ties. According to the broadcaster, now Indian government is negotiating with US, UK, Australia, and the EU. Yes. So it is a government. So regulations and liberalization. So example of tightening the regulations. So import ban or increasing tariff, and enforcement of BIS, and preference to local suppliers. So it is one of the policy from of Indian government. Japanese or other foreign countries, so Indian government request other request foreign countries to make product in India, not import, make in India. And but the other policy is PLI, production linked incentive. So this policy. So if company make product in India, government give us some incentive to such companies. So this policy has succeeded so far in attracting investment from global companies. And to give a certain amount of value added is a part of requirements. This policy aimed to sophistication of industries and the promotion of local companies. So not only foreign companies, but also local domestic companies, Indian government want to grow. So it is a sector of under PLI scheme. So many sectors are listed in the PLI. So for the foreign companies see this table, so we can understand which industrial sector the Indian government focus on in the future. So for example, large-scale electronics manufacturing, so for example, smartphone or other electrical device is in this sector. So it is the most assigned budget. So foreign companies understand Indian government focus on this sector. Similarly, other sectors. So auto components and automobiles. So it is needless to say, it is a main important sector. So Indian government assigned some budget to this sector. But there are many other industrial sectors. So not only such engineering and machinery industrial sector, but also medical, chemical, pharmaceutical, telecom, food, textile. So from this table, so we can understand the Indian government's almost whole industrial sector, in the industrial sector, the product made in India. So it is a strong message from Indian government, I feel. And other industrial sector, so energy, Prime Minister Modi announced a plan to achieve carbon neutrality by 2019 at the COP26. And the semiconductor, also Prime Minister Modi mentioned at the international conference, Semicon India 2022, about the possibility of making India a hub for manufacturing of semiconductors. I think there are some plans to construct a factory to make semiconductors. And between India and Japan, investment of 5 trillion yen agreement. So in the Japan-India Summit declaration in March 2022, it was mentioned that Japan will make investment and give loans to the worth of 5 trillion yen during the next 5 years. So yes. So next I would like to introduce the number of patent applications from outside to India. So I show the main 5 countries that filed patent to India: US, Japan, China, Germany, and Korea. So US is investment from US is top. So the filing patent application, the number of filing patent application is also top from US. So next Japan and China, Germany, Korea. So but Japan is not increasing the number of patent application. But China and Korea, the number of patent application from China and Korea is increasing. So it is a contrast. And Germany is decreasing. Okay. It is a table, the number of companies ranked in top 20 companies by number of applications. So in chemical field, for example, in the chemical fields, only 2 Japanese companies ranked top 20 companies that file application to India. But on the contrast with this, machinery and engineering, in the machinery and engineering sector, Japanese companies, 7 Japanese companies ranked in top 20 the number of application for filing. So, but it is easy to imagine because many manufacturing company do business in India, like Suzuki, Honda, and Panasonic or other manufacturing company. So, but other industrial field, the number of Japanese company is very low, and foreign companies, many foreign companies file the patent in this industrial sector. So, I covered this industrial sector to the table of PLI. So, pink is the industrial sector that Japanese company has strong point. So, yes, so only the 2 industrial sector, so Japanese company file patent, many patent. So, what I want to say is the interest, technical field, industrial sector that Indian government focuses on is changing. So, traditionally, so manufacturing sector is very important, but in future, the manufacturing sector and other sector also important, and in such sector other than manufacturing sector, the Japanese company needed to promote business in India. So I think. So, and from these tables, so Indian companies, the number of Indian companies is not big. So, but it is not show the number of patent application from Indian company is low. Actually, it is different. So this graph shows the domestic application and international application. So after about 10 years ago, the only 20% of patent application is from domestic company, so Indian company. But now, the ratio of the filing patent from domestic Indian company is increasing. So now about 40% of the total patent application from domestic Indian companies. So it is so Indian government concerned about the ratio of domestic companies applications number. So they really try to promote the Indian company to file patent progressively. So now the ratio of the patent filing from Indian company is increasing. And this is a press release from DPIIT. So the fourth quarter of previous fiscal year, the number of patent application from Indian company is exceed the number of foreign companies. It is a very amazing news for the foreign countries. So because 10 years ago, it is a huge gap between the international company and the Indian company. But now, Indian company exceeds the number of patent application to the international other foreign companies. Even even in COVID time. Yes. So I summarize this. So India investment incentives. Japan seek overseas market development. India has improving technical capabilities in various technology fields, intelligence production. Japan has wide range of technological capabilities, respond to wide range of needs in India. So India has abundant human resources. Japan is getting older country, so needs human resources. So I think both countries support each other. So I first introduced the India from Japanese perspective. India is a consumer and manufacturing base, but in the future, India is a R&D base, and there occurs many joint venture or open innovation base. I really hope it. So, if such movement make realize, intellectual property right is very important. So, finally, I would like to explain the important rule of intellectual property rights. So, of course, there are many aspects of discussion about intellectual property rights. But today, I mainly focus on the 4 points: searching for a partner, proving yourself, protect yourself, and go to the next project. So first, searching partner. So patent is public information. So we can research the patent information freely. So by analyzing a patent information, so we can understand the competitor or other research group researching what research other group do. So if the technology you researching other competitor has already done, you need to change the policy measure to the research. So analyzing a patent information, we can do that. We can get such information. And so imagine the IoT. So IoT is a combination technology of hardware and software. So the sensor detects the data is a hardware, but data transaction is a communication technology, and the cloud is a hardware or software, and the application is a software industry. So we need. It is difficult to create whole system by myself, by yourself, or by own self. So we needed to find a proper partner to do the business. But it is very difficult point. It is very difficult to find a proper partner. So I think you're searching the scientific literature or press release of companies. But I would like to recommend analyze patent information. So you analyze the patent information, you can get the information other company, other research. So if you find if you analyze such information, you may find out some proper partner. And it is the same from the potential partner. Potential partner wants to find out the proper partner as you. So, for example, Japanese companies want to know the potential partner in India, but it is very difficult to find out such startup or such research group. So, because one of the reasons, the patent information is very low. So now now the number of patent application from India is increasing, but very low traditionally. So Japanese company can't identify which company has what kind of technology. So I would like to recommend the Indian participant all. So please consider filing patent. If you file the patent after the 18 months, it is published. Then other people can find your technology. So
recording in progress.
Okay. Yes. So next, the rule of the intellectual property rights is proving yourself. So I think it is support to finance. So if when you explain the founder or bank, my technology is important or good, how can you do that? If you have patent, it is authorized by government, and you can do technology only. The other party can do that. So it is easy to explain this technology is important. So and monopoly the implementation. So I think it is easy to explain, but easy to explain. So it is important to grant a patent. And protecting yourself. So it is a main function of patent. Easy to imagine. So before the joint project, you contract with partner. You may contract with partner. But in Japan, there sometimes occurs enterprise company contract with a small company like startup. So enterprise company has power. So they get the technology from small companies. How can we protect such power of enterprise company? If you have patent, the right is yourself, your own right. So you can, the enterprise company can't love this technology from you, of you. So for protecting your technology from counterpart or partner, it is very important. Before the negotiation contract, I think it is better to get patent. And during a joint project, also it is all same. After the contract, the technology is shared with the partner. But can you? Do you want to use this technology freely with partner? I don't think so. So I want to control the implementation of own technology. So if you have patent, the right to do technology is controlled by you. So I think it is important to grant patent. So next, go to the next project. So profit from patent. So it is easy to imagine. So you can exclusive implementation by own and licensing. Yes, so you can get finance. So by using this, you can go to the next project. And remedies. So if someone infringement, if there are some infringement, you can go to court and stop such movement. So it is four aspect. I think a part of the function of IPR. So, but it is very important. So, again, I really what I focusing on the main point. So, many Japanese companies want to find out the technology in India, but there is enough ways to find out. So usually Japanese companies hire the consultant to find out the technology in India, but it is difficult. So if you register your technology, we can find the technology. So please consider the file patent to Indian Patent Office. I would like to introduce my office in Japan. So if you want to file patent to Japan, please contact me. I consult everything. So because intellectual property rights system in Japan is very complex, so I would like to explain that. And the consultation, filing again, and any other question related to intellectual property. So I and Jenica-san is an expert of intellectual property rights. So and if you visit Delhi, please contact me. So let's get in touch. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate kind of.
Thank you so much, sir, for bringing Japanese perspective in IPRs, as we all Indians are used to listen to the stories from Japanese perspectives in the form of cartoon series like Naruto and Shinjin, that we have a little kid with us who exclusively came to listen to you, but unfortunately she is sleeping. And now I would like to request Dr. Ramakrishna from Raghu Engineering College to come and offer our little heartfelt appreciation to our special guest from Japan, a representation to this conclave.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now. Yes, now one more guest is joining us today virtually to discuss on how universities can monetize the IP assets for the sustainable growth. Before that, I would request Dr. Jyoti to present our speaker to the audience. Thank you.
David's goal is to connect technologists with business decision makers to overlook untapped top platinum inventions to introduce in global markets. He focuses on commercializing and monetizing scientific discoveries and challenging technologies from universities, startups, research labs, and others. He awarded in 2021 in the ranking of IAM 300 world's leading IP strategists. As IAM says, an excellent worldwide bridge builder, David Hurtado is on mission to transform the Latin American innovation scene by using state-of-the-art legal technologies to effectuate the successful monetization of regionally developed intellectual property. He is very much passionate about the lifelong scientific innovation journey, a curious and result-driven professional who has successed in collaborating in intercultural projects. Now I request Mr. David to join virtually to talk on how universities can monetize the IP assets for sustainable growth.
Sir, over to you.
Today I will discuss with you how universities can monetize the IPR for the sustainable growth. Some trends and future, well, it's not future, it's now present strategies that university must take, and also other approaches that can be useful for science ventures, especially from university emerging markets. So for the introduction, I would like to say that Licenciate overall is overclocking inventions powered by the global social network. And when we say overclocking, it's a term that means in the computer science, overclock is increase the frequency of the clock of the processor in order to send the instruction or the information faster than before, using the same devices or the same components of the computer. So when we say overclocking innovations, is how to increase the velocity of the invention to transform an innovation in the market. So the way that we are doing that is using the social networks, especially LinkedIn, that is the professional social networks, in order to validate the commercial side of the invention and try to push the transfer process. A little bit about our methodology. We initiate evaluating the invention, and we created our own framework that is pending to evaluate the readiness level of the technology, the business, and intellectual property. After that, we understand the inventions using a canvas. After that, we create a collaborative validate in a social networks, using the wisdom of the crowd or the crowd knowledge in order to take the insights directly from the market. And the most important achievement in this process, this has 40 years, and last year, 2 weeks ago, I was awarded as the IAM 300. This is the rank, the most important ranking in IP strategies, mainly for the innovations that we are doing in the intellectual property with universities in Colombia. So how do you mention the transfer landscape? Just a few numbers. Today, the IP market, the IP transactions, especially in the patents, is $180 billion in IP transactions. We can say that we have around 20 million patents in force around the world, and just 2% of these patents are transacted. When I say transacted is when the companies, mainly not universities, the companies are licensed their technologies, their patents, from Google to Facebook, from Apple to Samsung, and just only 5% of the marketized or commercialized. So there is a lot of patents that are not worthy or are just for defensive strategies. How is the universities in this environment? And this graph is from the US universities. In 2020, they we collected a gross license income of 3 billion. So in the university's environment, just in the US, just 3 billion from of 180 billion is the market share of the universities, means the inventions that came from universities go to the market. So it's less than 10% of the inventions that are transacted in the market came from universities. What is the future? Which is the future? IBM is joining forces with IPR, a startup, to create a single global platform for all IP information and transaction, and with other initiatives, mainly in the blockchain metaverse environment. They believe that the IP market transaction will be growth to 1 trillion. 1 trillion, they don't say when, but they believe that sooner than later, this market will grow from 180 billion to 1 trillion. So I think that this forecast will be a big opportunity for universities around the world in order to increase their commercialization activity. There's some challenge, global challenge, that the university needs to know. To distribute a product or a product component globally, it needs to make sure it infringes none of the productive patents on regular basis, or say the reform to remove a product or a product component from a market. Only one infringed patent is required. So in the globalization world, we can see, for instance, the cell phone that has more than 1,000 patents behind the cell phone. And in Colombia was the first country in the battle of Apple versus Samsung, where the Colombian government banned the introduction of new iPhones because of a patent infringement, just for one patent and just for one claim of the patent. So how important is to say to have the correct patent or the best claim in a patent to block one of the biggest companies in the world? So now, what would be the entrepreneurial capabilities for scientist entrepreneurs in early stages? It is important to train the scientific crowd in order to create scientist entrepreneurs in the future. So we can see here the product life cycles, and the product life cycles can show us the different stages of the maturity of a product. When we talk about early stages, we are talking about in research and development, the technology market fit, how to find the best market or different markets for technology development, how to find the problem and solution fit, and how to find the product and market fit. This is the early stage technology. After the introduction, when the product will grow in sales, how we can train these future scientists with entrepreneur mindset. Professor Mamie from the Simon Fraser University in Canada team create dynamics capabilities for university. Dynamic capabilities is an approach for companies and how to grow a company or entrepreneurship. But they, the professor mainly published a recent paper saying how to create pre-formation entrepreneurial capabilities for science entrepreneurs. And she said that in the first phase, or first stage of dynamic capabilities, sensing and shaping opportunities, we need to develop the capacity to match technologies created in a university with different market necessities. When we find one or different market necessities with a technology, in sizing stages, we need to train the claiming and protecting the invention, how to claim and protect invention, but also how to attracting and mentoring the founding team and take care of activities in a university. And we will concentrate in these two pre-formation capabilities: technology market fit, technology market matching, and claiming and protecting invention. And the strategies I call the 3P strategy. These three strategies are so important when we are training the future science entrepreneurs. First, develop platform inventions, I will discuss later. 2, file blocking and block patents. And 3, publish papers in elite scientific journals. So the first one, how to develop platform invention, and what is a platform invention? Platform invention is when a technology can have different applications in one market or even in different markets. You just don't have one potential innovation. You can have different innovation just from the same inventive concept. An example here is the seed invention that was developed in 1880 something. And the invention of the seed was for the shoe. The inventor says to the lawyers, to the patent attorney, I just invented a new way to secure the shoe. And the problem solution that the inventor said to the patent attorney was, the problem attendant to fastening a shoe using a shoe balloons are solved by a row of clamps made with interlocking parts disposed on opposing flats of the shoe, which when in position can only engage each other when at the angle of the line of strain, and be a movable guide having two wide ways which are separated at one. The patent attorney say, okay, industry. So the patent attorney drafted. The invention was specially designed for use as a shoe fastener, but is capable of general application where clasps consisting of interlocking parts may be applied, as for example, mailbags, belts, and the closing of seams uniting flexible bodies. So this can be named a platform inventions, in which application not only shoes but also in both bags, in furniture, accessories, or even to for the union of the skin. So we need to have this capability in our scientists in order to see what is not evident in the inventions that they are doing. This can be unlock the real value or the potential value or increase the value of the invention made in the university. The second one, capability that I want to share with you, is file blocking and block patterns. There is an example also in the publication of the main professor. There is a case study of the Professor Langer in the MIT, one of the prolific inventors and entrepreneurs in the biomedical engineering applications. And they say, okay, this is the conventional way of about the university file patents. First of all, let's file a priority patent, and they file different patents or the same patent in different countries. And this is like a linear way of patenting. When we develop, at the right side, when we develop platform inventions, we need to file the first one as much as broad and blocking patent that we can have. And when we is going on with the patent protections, we need to file different patents with just protecting one application in one area. Maybe one patent that we file after that can be abandoned, but the other can be can find different markets and different entrepreneurial teams that can license the technology and create an innovation. This is an example of one of the patents of Professor Langer. This is the priority patent, and you can see the different branches to create different applications for different startups or companies established that license technology and create different products based on the same invention. And the last one, capability that would be so important to implement in the transformation capabilities, is publish paper in elite journals. We need to have train people in the technology transfer office to set the calendar or to set the schedule to first file the patent and after that publish the paper. But if some inventor, some researchers has the possibility to publish in a elite journal as Nature, Lancet, Science, there is an important ability or skill for the tech transfer office to not to block this publication, because we will be graded for the university and for invention, but how to set the schedule to file the patent soon in order to get the grace period in some countries. The professor mentioned that the entrepreneur science, star science entrepreneurs, have patents and papers that create some startups. The most prolific or the most star science entrepreneurs has the bigger number of papers published and the patents granted, and they have also the great numbers of startups created. So it is important to file patents to protect the technology, but also that invention can be validated for the academic or scientific community in order to increase the value of the invention that the university is doing. There is more chances to get investors when we have this combination, patents and papers published, especially in journals. So the last one that I want to share with you are the new trends and approach in the commercialization from universities. There is a traditional way of how universities are promoting their technologies. Traditional ways is meet the people, taking database on Chamber of Commerce, mouth to mouth, with referrals, and you can get from the business contact just some qualified leads that can be interested in your patents. But if you're implementing strategies that is called social settings, it means that you are promoting your technologies through the social networks. You can find more business contacts and you can get more qualified leads in order to get these potential licensees to sell your inventions or to commercialize your invention. That is so important here, the first capability that I mentioned, not to take application for convention, but to find the invention platform in order to license specific application for specific geographical area, and the ability to find different or various license agreement for the invention. For emerging markets as Latin America, India, China, and others, is, in my opinion, is so important the utility models. This kind of intellectual property to protect the incremental innovation and the way and how universities can eat it.
Progress.
You can protect different incremental innovations, different utility models, and when you are going to patent in abroad, you can grow these utility models to file an invention, a patent invention or a patent in instance. There is a methodology and there is another method. This for utility model, and just for time we don't have the time to share others. Patent pools, that is so important to know this kind of protection and collaboration between universities. There's an example for the University Technology License Program. 12 universities in US, they had problems to license their physics and electronics inventions because when one university is trying to license one patent field, the company always said, there is a good invention, but I need to license 4, 5, 10, 50 inventions. Almost 600 patents are in the pool, and you and the company that is helping in the process is license all the patents that are in the pool or just batch of the patent pools. That allows to license inventions in a bag. So you can license the best patent that you have, but also not so good patents can be in the same bag and increase the value of the portfolio. There is just an example of different patent pools that are available in the market. Take care and implement the new technologies that are emerging in the market based on WWW3, Metaverse, blockchain, and artificial intelligence that can improve and speed the process of commercialization of your inventions. So there is a blockchain for patents, also some metaverse application that can be useful for license or for negotiation, can be improved.
Consulting session and he's going to be discussing.
Hola, Marcelo. Good evening, actually.